And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around your real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, small business funding, and so much more. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show and our sister brand, the Consumer Quarterback Show. Over 80 show partners now, and we all want to entertain, enlighten, engage in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone and save our Consumer Advocate hotline number in your phone, 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894.
Baby, don't forget my number.
Don't forget our number. Save it in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. We're our Consumer Advocate. Our number one goal is to help you win no matter what you're facing. At some point, you may have a letter hung on your door. There may be all types of decisions that run through your head. We want you to think of the Consumer Quarterback Show and let us quarterback these transactions to all of our favorite folks here in Tampa Bay. Over 80 partners now, corporate. So we don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want you to huddle up, call an audible, help you win in any marketplace. Let's go around the horn here, make our introductions. Today we've got Keyur in studio from Synergistic Funding. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome back in. Absolutely. And also Naim as well with Synergistic Funding.
What's up, Brandon?
How we doing?
Good, man.
Awesome. Good stuff. Big things to talk about here, ways that we can help business owners obtain some alternative types of funding, also doing some processing of credit cards, debit card types of transactions. A lot of good things to talk about. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors. We've got part of our health team is Michael Vogt. He's an expert massage therapist with Back and Health Massage, helping people with neck, back, shoulder, hip, and leg pain feel better. I want to give a shout out to Michael Vogt, Back and Health Massage, located on Gun Highway in Tampa, voted top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay by the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Best in the Biz Awards, as well as Ray Milton. He's a health chef. He's an awesome chef, and he's also does some boxing over there as well. But Ray Milton, shout out to Ray with his business is called Ray's Vegan Soul. Find him on Facebook, Ray's Vegan Soul, where I'll hit you with the flavor. That's his tagline. He's going to hit you with the flavor. Does some great food, awesome food for me. And each week he cooks these great meals. He brings them, drops them off, and I carry them with me in my vehicle. That way I'm not pulling into these fast food stores and these restaurants, and I'm able to have that healthy diet, because we got to take care of our bodies. What else do we have in this world if we don't have our health? I'm a former U.S. football player, so sometimes you have these different ailments, different things affecting the body. So thanks so much for my health team. And let's go ahead and jump into this great content. Again, it's all in an effort to help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. And let's go ahead and jump into it, Keyur. So what else are you saying? What are you seeing out there? We're talking about small business loans, alternative financing, and ways that business owners can think a layer deeper when it comes to cash flow.
Sure. So in the previous shows, we've talked about kind of what we see, what separates us from basically the competition. And really what that is they're what we call one-trick ponies. Basically, they have this one product that they kind of shove down, business owners' throats, and it's not necessarily the right fit in most cases.
Right.
And we get a lot of that after the fact, where now they've taken advantage of, the $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever this companies out there are offering.
Right.
And they're paying on it when they're not even using it, and then we get those opportunities to say, okay, we need you to refinance this out. So where we come in is we can offer some of those products, but we really do more of a consultative approach to give you as many options as possible and try to put you in the right one that's conducive to your business and the workflow of what your business is offering. One of the concepts I think we were talking about is cash flow insurance, and that's it's a kind of a token or a coin that we've marketed here to symbolize a product that essentially is a line of credit, but it's not something that you pay on similar to a bank line where you have an annual fee or a closeout. This is something that kind of just sits in the cloud, and it's there for that rainy day, or for those true expansion needs, working capital for payroll or for opportunities to buy something in bulk that your credit, if you're in a retail environment, you get an opportunity to buy something in bulk discount that you can turn and the margins are there, but where do you come up with this cash? That's where this line of credit kind of sits, and it's a truly unsecured product, so there's no liens or collateral attached to it. Essentially, it's cloud-based financing. So we've done just over $3 million in funding in this product over the last year and some change. And it's just a really good fit for most business owners.
Yeah, one of the main points I hear is that you have a consultative approach. You're looking at it from a comprehensive point of view when it comes to that small business, and that's what we need is not the one-trick pony type setup like you said. And the other thing is to be able to have access to that line of credit to be able to take advantage of these economies of scale. Is that right, Naim?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. What we're seeing also out there is a lot of bait and switch.
Right.
Companies are always pushing that SBA product.
Yep.
Right. So whenever you speak to a funding company, they're like SBA, SBA, SBA. So you have a particular expectation of what an SBA is,
right.
Time frame, what it takes to qualify. So they get you in talking about SBA, and then they stick you into a merchant cash advance.
Yeah.
Right. So our consultative approach is to really educate that customer through the whole process from beginning to end. Because the better that we can educate you, the more realistic expectations you have of us.
Right.
Right. Because many times, somebody will come in, I want an SBA loan. I have a 560 credit score. I'm doing $5,000 a month. I just started in business 3 months ago. Well, you're not going to qualify for that, right?
Good luck. See, come back in a year.
But somebody they spoke to told them that they would qualify for it.
Right.
So it makes our job a little bit more difficult because we got to backtrack a little bit, re-educate, and then give them the proper expectations.
Yeah, it's just a similar example as, I'm a top listing agent in Tampa Bay, and I focus on listings with clients. So a lot of times, when I'm talking to expired listings, they're going to have in their mind, well, my last realtor thought I could sell it at $225, but the property is actually only worth $195, and so I have to go in there and say, hey, here's what the truth is. And a lot of times, unfortunately, they don't want to hear that.
You can't handle the truth.
Exactly. For Jack to help us out there, but so unfortunately, you go in there and you have to backtrack, like you said. And I love the fact that you take a consultative approach when it comes to working with your clients.
Yeah, and that's the reason that we set up this company is to help clients. Mm-hmm. So if we're not educating them and we're not taking a consultative approach with them, then we're doing them a disservice. We might as well not be in this business.
Right.
Right. And that's our approach to the funding business in general, because it's a lifeblood of your business. You don't have the money, you can't operate.
Right. Yeah. Cash flow is king. We hear that often,
right.
and it happens in real estate. The cash offer is going to get looked at better than the FHA deal that's financing, and they're going to be coming in with asking for seller concessions and that type of a scenario. Give us a success story, something that you've done recently, maybe that kind of paint that picture for our listeners. By the way, if you just joined us, you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're here talking with Keyur and Naim from Synergistic Funding, small business loans, alternative types of funding. Do you have a success story that comes to mind?
We actually do. It's one that Keyur has been working on.
Yeah.
It's $1 million facility. Keyur, why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, so we have it's a manufacturing company. They provide a product that is basically sold throughout the country, but primarily here in Florida. Obviously, it's it's closest to home. They were actually turned down from a bank. As you know, most of our referrals come from bank turndowns to begin with, as that retention focus from the bank's perspective. If they can retain that client and not let them shop another bank and inevitably be told the same thing, that's kind of where we position ourselves. So they were turned down. The business is doing close to $5 million in revenue a year, and it's been in business for about 9 years. So there's seasonality there. There's a track record. There's just the management side, they had some hiccups. So a couple years ago, they had a loss as far as what they're showing on their P&L. So no bank is really going to take that and really look deeper into the business.
Right.
We actually found a lender that we're partnered with that basically is able to. They've offered them $1 million facility. We're getting close to the final stage here now. But it's essentially going to take him out of those cash advances that we spoke about before. Right now, he's paying close to, it's an absurd amount, close to $80,000 a month in daily base type of payments.
Wow.
And we're freeing up essentially $50,000, roughly, maybe a little bit more. That's kind of where we're at right now from a monthly basis. So imagine if you have $50,000 additionally to operate. what that can do for you. You know, pay down additional debt that you may have, or expand in other areas, whatever that may be.
Wow.
But if you're in a chokehold where you're paying all your revenues coming in, but it's all going right out on a daily basis in most cases, what can that really do? So we're going in, taking them from 80,000, and it's going to be probably close to between 20 and 30,000 a month, so nearly 50,000 a month in cash flow. And that's just an alternative lender that's really looking deeper, sees the value in the business, sees that there is some collateral that can't, essentially inventory as well as machinery that can be collateralized, that no one was really willing to put value on. But more importantly, sees the business, the value of the business.
Well, that's awesome. You think about a business, small business owner. That's not many worse places to be, is to be in that chokehold and have the cash being choked out of your business. So, hey, stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We're talking with the fellas from Synergistic Funding here in studio, talking about alternative types of business funding, loans out there for small businesses. And I want to remind you, check out our book on Amazon, amazon.com. It's the Real Estate Quarterback's Consumer Advocacy Playbook. Everything we do is with you in mind as our listeners, our viewers, our fans out there. We want to do all this to help you win in any marketplace, position you as that engaged client out there, because like we talked about, there's so much there's so much commission-based advice in our community. They're so prevalent out there. We want to make you more street smart, and when you want to act as your quarterback and be that super connector, we want you to think of this show as the hub of your financial wheel, with each spoke extending out, representing another one of our preferred partners. All the finest folks here in Tampa Bay, the Gulf Coast region of Florida. We have all the best folks here situated to help you win no matter what you're facing. So we want you to check out realestateradiotampa.com, and we also want you to save our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894.
Welcome to my house.
All right, this segment is brought to you by the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, 24 hours, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Maids.com. Shout out to the Maids, referred for a reason. And we're back here in studio. Got a couple of hot properties here I want to pitch. Talking about business funding, let's talk about this business here. I've got a buying opportunity out here at 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview, very close to the Alafaya River. And it is a great buying opportunity listed at $650,000, commercial property here. 1,900 square feet, 2,500 square foot gross, and there's 30 parking spaces. Currently set up as a restaurant, great little restaurant out there, but could be a bar, any type of service that you have. Great proximity, and you've got over 0.7 acres there, and a lot of traffic driving by on the roadways. So great buying opportunity, 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview. And so let's go ahead and jump back into this content. We're talking with Keyur from Synergistic Funding, and let's go ahead and define and talk about that, what you had mentioned, the concept of cash flow insurance. Let's define that a little bit more.
Sure. So it essentially is an unsecured line of credit for businesses. Some parameters: you need to be in business for at least 1 year. It's more of a cash flow based line of credit. So if your business is still relatively new, you won't qualify for a bank financing, or you don't want to go through the lengthy process of bank financing. This is something that, again, is unsecured. We look at it's an automated process as well, so there's really no paperwork involved.
Really?
You really come through our website.
Wow.
We send you an invitation, essentially. You link, some bank accounts, some QuickBooks, things of that nature, based on what you're using as far as your business practices. The algorithms run. It shoots you back an approved amount. Funds are available as soon as the next day. Again, but you're not paying on it. You're in control. Whereas the
Right.
competition, they're giving you this money, but you're paying on it day one. Here, you're in complete control. It's just basically a cash flow insurance. Sits in there for a rainy day or for things that you can put and use for everyday business practices.
Okay, so this is interesting. So only 1 year in business, and you have access to this now. Is it credit score driven? Is it one of those things?
It is. I'll touch on it, and Naim can talk about some examples that we've had.
Okay.
But it's as low as 560 in terms of the FICO.
Mm-hmm.
So the way, to your point, the dollar amount is predicated on the revenues that you're generating, and the rate or the cost associated with is based on your FICO score.
Okay.
So, but both, and we can go as low as 560. It does cap out as 100,000, but most business owners, 100,000 is sufficient. So.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of change.
And talking about commission-based salespeople out there,
Right.
There's a lot of commission-based salespeople. You're right. It's
Big
a big
time.
thing right now. And the part of the problem with commission-based salespeople is they're always pushing products on you.
Yep.
Because if you don't buy, they don't make any money.
Yep.
Right? So as we developed our company, we wanted to stay away from that format.
Right.
We want to give you all the opportunities out there to make the right decision for your business.
Right.
And we're not focused on our bottom line. Believe it or not, we're really not focused on our bottom line. We believe that the money will come because a lot of opportunities are falling out of bankable into alternative lending.
Right.
And because of that, the opportunities out there are wide and great, right? And part of these opportunities, we always offer this cash flow insurance
Yeah.
in the form of a line of credit. Now, we don't make barely anything on this,
Yep.
right? Why would we offer it? The reason that we offer it is because it's convenient for you. It kind of like sits in the cloud.
Yep.
And when you use it, you pay on it,
Yeah.
right? So we've had many customers come in, big and small, right? We've had healthcare companies, pretty large healthcare companies. This caps out at $100,000. They got in a cash crunch where their bank wasn't willing to give them any more money. They came to us. We put them into this cash flow insurance product. They got approved for $100,000, and they use it every few months. They use $100,000, pay it back, and then they're paying interest for a very limited amount of time. So it works just like a credit line that you have in a bank, except you're not paying on it immediately.
It's unsecured.
It's unsecured.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, and you're building up credit as you're making those payments. You're able to, have that there as basically like an insurance policy in case a piece of machinery breaks down. You got a vehicle that goes down. That vehicle's taking out 2 or 3 service techs during
Correct.
the day.
Exactly.
Now you have the opportunity cost of those jobs not being done. There's a lot of reasons to why you would want to reach out. If you just joined us, you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We're talking with Keyur and Naim from Synergistic Funding here, and we're talking about ways that as a business owner you can think a layer deeper, avoid that commission-based advice that's so prevalent in our community. And so, what else are you seeing out there, Keyur?
Well, in the healthcare, now you mentioned healthcare, we're seeing, a lot of one of the companies you mentioned is there's things continuously, happening within the Obamacare space, and a lot of it is predicated or revolving around the healthcare providers not able to turn that money fast enough. So in other words, they have billables, they have a lot of billable hours or for patients, but when they're Medicare based or insurance based, it's taking longer for them to basically collect on that. So essentially their AR, accounts receivable, is accumulating, but then it's getting longer. So the aging report is turning 60, 90, 120.
Right.
When they were so used to 30 to 60. So we're seeing that in a lot of demand from us, coming to us saying, hey, I need to figure out what can we do. We've got a specific example. There's the accountable care format. I'm not too familiar on how it works, but this company essentially is due $16 million in October. Mm-hmm. That's tied up. 11 of it stays with them. The remaining amount gets distributed back to their physician practices that I guess are part of their program.
Okay.
So imagine if you have that much money coming in, but you still have to operate day to day. What does that do to you?
Yeah.
And they don't qualify for traditional factoring because this is still a relatively new program. So we provided them with the $100,000 at least to stop some of that bleeding.
Yeah.
But we're talking millions of dollars here. So they will get it in October, but they're having to scramble, taking some advances, doing all these things that, borrowing from different companies that they're affiliated with, essentially.
Yep.
It's kind of a dynamic scenario that's kind of happening in all of in the medical and healthcare space right now.
Yeah, I can just imagine the medical, the healthcare space, just the changes that they've gone through, the issues that you're seeing, the AR, the AP, the nightmare that happens. And so that sounds like an awesome niche for you to be able to step in and help. I remember last time you were on the show as well, we had James Loscano, our business broker partner, helps business owners plan that exit strategy for their businesses. A lot of times we work 20, 30 years in our business as Americans. We work hard, and unfortunately, the majority, they don't have the foresight to put those plans in place. Maybe speak to that when you talk about from an accounting or underwriting standpoint. If you guys want to speak up to that point, what do business owners, whenever they come in to see you, what are you seeing and what would you like to see more of?
It's funny you mention that because we have a presentation that we do. It's like a lunch and learn presentation.
Yep.
Where we kind of show customers the business life cycle. Right. Where a business starts and where it ends. And it's very similar to the human life cycle.
Yep.
At the beginning, the more that a business is reliant on the owner, you're like an infant. You're like a newborn.
Yep.
Right? But as you start to delegate, as you start to build systems, as you begin to automate, now the business is dependent on different people or different systems other than the owner.
Procedures. Yep.
Right? Different procedures, maybe employees, what have you. Right? Then you become fundable. So we seek to educate the clients on that business life cycle.
Yep.
And when we give you the money, don't just go spend the money on the first thing that you find.
Right.
We kind of want to gear you into spending the money in the right places as well.
Right.
Because what that's going to do is it's going to make you better fundable in the future. Right. So you could take a better loan with more favorable terms and so on and so forth. So that's a big part of the education process that we go through with a client. And they appreciate that. There's business owners that have been in business for 10 years and still operating as an infant.
Yeah, because it's been working for them. It's been working, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not the ideal.
They got a job. They got a job, but they're never going to be able to leverage that job in order to really take it to that next level.
Right. Yeah. If you make an investment in infrastructure, you make an investment in a technology, a CRM, something along those lines that's going to automate your business model, help you put processes in place. Those are wise investments. If you take that money and you maybe spend it on, some type of a marketing that you think might work,
Exactly.
but it may not work. You want to, some of the folks I listen to, Grant Cardone, he's been on the show. Different folks, they say you want to grow your business through your revenues, not investing and taking loans and buying. So stay with us. Hey, more great for content here from our experts in studio. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. Shout out to our official restaurant partner, Hula Bay, located on Tyson Avenue, just south of West Shore, right off of south of Gandy, off of West Shore there. Go say hello to Mike Finnegan. He's the manager over at Hula Bay. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for a free water with lemon. He's going to take care of you. I tell you, he will hook you up. And we also have our printing partner as well, Greg Geyer over at Printing Solutions, Inc. He does a great job helping us. DigitalPrintingSource.com. Prints all these awesome flyers, postcards, mailers, banners, all kinds of cool stuff for us with the Real Estate Quarterback Show and Platinum MVP Realty. Say hello to Greg over at Printing Solutions, Inc. DigitalPrintingSource.com. And so property of the month real quick before we jump back into this great content. We're talking with the fellows from Synergistic Funding, talking about business loans, small business financing, different types of ways to structure your business and to pay attention to the life cycle of your business. But before we do, I want to touch on this hot listing. I got our property of the month here. This is the 414 South Royal Palm Way in Tampa. This is a 4-bedroom, 3 full bath, 2 half bath, located in beautiful Beach Park, South Tampa, 33609. One of the hottest zip codes in all of Tampa Bay. And it's over 4,800 square feet living, a historical style home, estate style pool in the back, fenced in backyard, too many upgrades to list here. But it's listed at $1.195 million. Great buying opportunity here at 414 South Royal Palm Way, our featured property of the month. Something pretty cool that came up this week, too, is I was contacted by a producer out of L.A. They were greenlit by A&E, and they're going to be shooting this property. Really cool. We signed off on the paperwork, and they're going to be shooting the property coming up in a day or two. And it's pretty interesting. Of course, they already have their host in place, so I couldn't do it. I wanted to, but at least they're going to show my real estate sign on national TV. So
bring him on the show.
Yeah, it'd be cool, right? So interesting. So let's go ahead and back into this content. We're here again. The goal of this show is to educate, entertain, enlighten, and engage. So there's only one way that you can engage us. There are a couple ways, actually. You can go to realestateradiotampa.com, submit the form with any of your questions. We got some great content. I know there's a lot of business owners listening to this show. A lot of, it's intelligent talk radio, and I've got some intelligent folks in studio as well as in the vehicles. I know my listeners are smarter than the average bear, so to speak, right? So we want you reaching out. Go to the website, submit the form. Any questions you have, if you want to sit down, have a consultation. Here's something else. You can also shoot me a text message over to 813-917-1894. Just shoot a text message over if you have real estate questions or maybe small business funding. Send us a text message now. You'll sit down with the guys. They'll come out. They'll meet with you at your office. You can meet with them at their office. Go ahead and text right now to the hotline, 813-917-1894, small business funding or any real estate questions you might have. And so let's go ahead and jump back into this now. Really interesting topic we were talking about, the life cycle of a business. You start off as an infant, you go through your adolescence, your teenage, your young adult, you're right along the line, right?
Hey, you got it.
Now, and I learned that from Tony Robbins over at Business Mastery and Namali, Fiji. Chet Holmes, Tony Robbins, they were teaching this. And it's interesting because, if you break down any business, you can look at where they're at in the life cycle in that process. And so we kind of left off, we kind of rushed through that at the end of the segment. Why don't we go ahead and recap and kind of go to your point there, Naim?
Yeah, so the point that I was mentioning is a lot of customers will come to us and say, I need $30,000. We say, okay, what do you need this money for?
Right.
Well, I want to market my business. I'm going to do this huge ad campaign. Okay, well, great. What kind of results do you think you'll get from this? Yep. Well, they're thinking I will do about $200,000 in sales. Okay, so what's your closing ratio? I don't know. Okay, so if you get 10 leads, how many of those turn into a referral?
Right.
I don't know. So they have all of these unanswered questions.
Yep.
So when we talk to a client, we're seeking to educate them. Well, do you think it's wise that you spend $30,000 not knowing what it's going to lead you? How about take a smaller loan, work on your infrastructure, spend some money on your CRM, get the data on the back end to communicate to you what your closing ratios are, what your ideal customer is, and work on that aspect first, and then go take a maybe $20,000 loan and do a marketing budget. Right. So we seek to educate the clients in that format, because if a company is in its infancy, they're not going to have all those statistics.
Right.
Only a company that has a little bit of experience and have leveraged some kind of technology or the use of people in order to get to that bottom line of, if a lead comes in, how many leads does it take to convert into a referral?
Right.
Right. So you make your marketing dollars actually count for you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And there's so many ways when you look at marketing to generate business, and I think a lot of times people get confused with actions equaling business. For example, social media. Sometimes when you put so much effort in a social media post, what did you really get out of it? Unless it was key targeted, it was strategic, and you had maybe some dollars behind it, putting it as a paid promotion. That's what we urge our business owners here to do with the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Is that we're here answering some really important questions for business owners. So what we talk about is to take this video content, put it on your Facebook page, and pay to promote it, because you can go in there and target an exact demographic of particularly business owners, maybe $100,000 and above, those types of things.
And most people that come for funding are in reactive mode.
Right.
They're reacting to a situation that they're dealing with, the situation that they've been placed into.
Yep.
And now we need this money so that we can get out of our situation. Well, we kind of want to slow you down a little bit.
Yep.
Right? What is this really costing you?
Yeah.
Right? And how much of it is going to go towards growing your business? I mean, you're a fan of Tony Robbins.
Yep.
Tony Robbins is always preaching, figure out if this is going to make you grow or this is going to make you contract.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's going to make you grow, then it's proper to spend the right money in order to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And and here's something else he says. He says, how many of you, I've been in his seminars many times, he says, how many of you like surprises? And people say, oh yeah, I like surprises. He says, BS. You like the surprises that you like, the certain surprises. You don't like the other ones. You call them problems. Yep. And problems in business are going to come about. Problems in life stimulate us to grow. They help us think a layer deeper. Whenever we have a problem, entrepreneurs, winners say, hey, what good can come of this? How can I restructure my game plan? What is the universe, God? What are they trying to tell me? Exactly. Well, hey, you need to take a step back, slow down. That might not be the right way to go. Formulate a new game plan, and then sometimes you want to huddle up and call an audible. Omaha! Peyton Manning help us out there, call that audible. So, what else you guys seen?
I always use an example. I'm gonna tell a little childhood story.
Yep.
When I was 8 years old, I used to take my uncle's car. My uncle lived with us.
Yeah.
I used to sneak out in the middle of the night, take his car, and ride out in it because somebody thought it was a good idea to teach me how to drive.
Yeah.
Was I ready for it?
Probably not.
No, hell no, I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
Right? But I did
access.
it. Now, thank God I didn't get myself in trouble.
Right.
But that's what business owners do. They get in that car when they're not at the legal age to drive.
Right.
And they want to get from point A to Z immediately overnight. Right. You can't do that.
8 years old, man?
8 years old.
Man, I thought I was so. I waited till I was 14 to do it.
Yeah, 12.
I pushed it out. I'll tell you, my mom had a nice Chrysler New Yorker, man. I pushed it down the road, and I thought I was, but yeah, that's, and that's a good metaphor. Is that a lot of times business owners, we're good at our craft. We're great at what we do. We're the artists, so to speak. But we got to surround ourselves by the other folks that can help us, and that have the skill set that we don't have, the complementary skill set. So is that what you're seeing, Keyur?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the zone you were talking about, the life cycle, and where do we want to be in that life cycle? It's the zone of maximization. That's where you want to be. And how do you get there? Well, you are going to go through various stages, just like in the human body. You retract a little bit as you get older. Right. Things fall off. Things, you have ailments, but you have to fix that. Well, it's no different in the business. You lose a key person. Well, how do you replace that person? Yeah. And that's just that. Those are things. That's where the money should be used. Yeah. To Naim's point, marketing on this. If this hypothetical, that's what we have to deal with on fixing those problems.
Yeah.
A lot of business owners come to us when it's not too late, but when they've made that mistake, whereas if they would have come to us in the beginning, we can actually help them not only obtain the funding, but really coach them to some extent on what to do and what not to do based on all the clients that we've seen in the past. So it's just an interesting dynamic, and the alternative space is there's more people popping up, but again, it's fast money that's not necessarily helping. It's in most cases harming them.
Yeah, anytime you make a major decision as well, it's especially if it's about a relationship, a key relationship, or about money, you want to think on paper. You want to take your time and not jump into fast, quick decisions. Normally, when you make that quick decision, it's a mistake. You come back and you say, "Man, I wish I thought about that longer." And to your other point of the maximization process, once you get to that point, then you got to work to stay there in that maximization process. And it sounds like if you reach out to the Synergistic team here, you're going to get a coaching session as well as the opportunity to sit down and have that consultation about funding, ways that you can maximize. Hey, here's what we've seen with our other 100+ clients in that category of your business, and so you're going to get a coaching session involved with this. So
yeah, Brandon,
we want you to check it out. Stay with us when we come back. Let's jump into that when we come back, but we're up against a hard break. So stay with us. The Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes, Real Estate Quarterback Show. We're talking with the fellas from Synergistic Funding here in studio, live from iHeartRadio, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. We've got a weekend show on 102.5 The Bone, and you can stream all of our shows live from our website, realestateradiotampa.com. Click on the live stream, or you can also visit WeBeamTV.com as well. And this segment is brought to you by our Cornerstone PEO. Shouts out to Greg Arnold at Cornerstone PEO. Helps you with your payroll, your compliance, OSHA compliance. Let you focus on being a great business owner, whereas Cornerstone PEO can help with some of the underlying factors, getting your payrolls on time and things of that nature. So filing those quarterly reports. So we're back here in studio. Got a hot listing here I want to touch on. and 0 Point Seaside Drive here in Crystal Beach. A great buying opportunity. It's a vacant lot on the Ogden Bayou, and it is a reduced over $180,000. Owner just reduced this down to $299,000. Very motivated. Any potential builders, developers, entrepreneurs out there, this is the last lot available at 0 Point Seaside Drive in Crystal Beach, listed at $299,000. Great buying opportunity. You got water views, sunset views, and you're also surrounded by multi-million-dollar homes. So that leads me to a question. Do you guys do any vacant land financing?
We can. Generally on that, it's interest-only type of scenario unless it's going to be developed into something with that same person. If it's more of a fix and flip type of thing, and it kind of falls into that hard money category.
Okay.
But if it's owner-occupied and it's going to be developed, then we might be able to bundle it into something, larger, including the actual development. So it's kind of case by case.
What
but
would
we
the
can
loan
do
to
it.
value be on that?
If it's just a kind of a buy and hold or fix and flip scenario, depends. In most cases, it is a lower LTV. Sometimes we have a couple lenders that are 50% LTV, so it does require more cash. In others, it can go up to about 75 on the high end. But generally speaking, you're kind of in that rehab flip market, so you're probably 50 to 65 LTV, generally speaking.
I have that come up, and there's some local banks that do, I think, 70.
Yeah.
And it depends on if it's in a platted community or
Correct.
not. If it's outside of a platted community, it's a little bit lower. But just curious about that as we're talking about it. So, Naim, we were talking before the break about, you're not going to push these business owners out there, small business owners, into certain products. I kind of relate it to financial advisors. Tony Robbins just did a great book, Money Master the Game, where he talks about the difference between a fiduciary and someone who's not a fiduciary. Maybe explain the definition of a fiduciary and how you guys are different in that.
Somebody that works for you. Right. They don't have any responsibility to anybody else but that client.
Right.
Now, we don't have a fiduciary responsibility for our client, but we act like it, right? Because we come from the business of credit card processing.
Right.
We've been in that business since 2006.
Yeah.
And you know how cutthroat that business is.
Oh, yeah.
And the margins are extremely, extremely light.
Yeah.
Right. So one customer can make you $5-10 a month. So we have thousands and thousands of clients to make great money. Right. So when you're in that business and you're having to compete for that $10, $15, $20, $30, you build a fiduciary responsibility to your client because you want to educate them to make sure that nobody can come in and lie their way into that account and take it away from you. So when we talk about a fiduciary responsibility, our commitment is to the client and to no one else. Right. It's not to us. It's not to the banks that we're working with. Right. It's not the alternative lenders. It's that client. Because for us, every one client leads into 3 to 4 referrals. Right. And those are real numbers.
Yeah, I can imagine. You give a business owner these types of loans, these types of opportunities that they didn't probably even know existed out there, especially your cash flow insurance program.
Yep.
Yeah, many times we talk customers out of a loan, believe it or not.
Yeah.
They'll come to us and, the only thing that they qualify for maybe is a merchant cash advance. Yeah. And it just does not make sense for them. Their profit margins are like 15%. This is going to cost them 40. I mean, you're paying to get this loan. Yeah. It doesn't make sense for you. So I would feel guilty giving you this money. Right. Right? Because it's 2 of these, you're going to be out of business. Yep. For sure. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is when you look at a small business, you want to be diligent in what you're trying to do, and you have these different concerns coming at you. You've got you've got payroll that you got to meet. You got if you have a service-based business, you're constantly trying to have that quality service. If you're selling a product, you got to manage your inventory. So a lot of reasons why you might want to reach out as a business owner, take advantage of some of these lines of credit. Is that typically what you see? Are you doing a rate and term type of a deal, or are you doing more of a line of credit? In
most cases, it's a combination of both. We start with locking in that cash flow insurance because there's no cost. It doesn't cost to apply. There's no annual fee. It doesn't hurt you to have a security blanket of X dollars, whatever it is that your business justifies. Right. But then we absolutely look at what are they looking for. If it's a true term loan, but you don't qualify for it, that's when we kind of say, let's manage the cash flow insurance product, and then we'll get you to a better, where you can qualify for a better term. Yeah. Because most businesses will qualify for that merchant cash advance. But again, they'll get that money up front. They're paying on it right away. Then we have to come back and figure out another solution. So we'll pump the brakes on them on that term loan. But if they can qualify for it, then yeah, we have the bank side of things, and then we also have our alternative lenders that provide term loans up to most cases 5 years.
Excellent. Yeah, I love it. Let's go ahead and enter our lightning round. All right. Top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. Keyur, go ahead.
I'd say last time I talked about separating personal expenses from the business. I think this time it's really put a true value to what your assets are. I had a call this morning coming in, and she's going through our SBA process, and she was like, I didn't realize I could consider this and furniture and this as my assets. She thinks literally only her inventory was her assets. So think about what you have and what you can, what the value there really is, right, and figure out ways to manage, and kind of grow on that. But don't discount yourself. A lot of people discount what their business is truly worth. So I'd say do some more due diligence.
Naim?
I would have to say, find out where you are in the business life cycle. Mm-hmm. It's really important.
Yeah.
Are you an infant? And if you're an infant, what can you do in order to get to the young adult, for example? What are some things that you can automate in your business so that the business is not as dependent on you, the owner, in order to get you to that next stage of business?
Yeah, I love it. And then, kind of to build on that, kind of the same thing is what I would say in this area is, look at a SWOT analysis, one thing they call a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you got certain strengths, let's build on those strengths. Let's reinforce those strengths. You've got weaknesses. Hey, what a great time to get a Band-Aid out, put a Band-Aid on it, make it better. Opportunities, maybe there's opportunities for affiliate marketing. There's so many different ways you can look at from a business owner to take advantage of. And I think it all boils down to having an abundance mentality. Too many times I see it out there, especially in real estate mortgage. You see it is a lot of times it's that's another realtor. He's doing what I'm doing. I can't be friends with him. I don't want to talk to him. Yep. No, I have that completely opposite mindset. It's more about an abundance mentality. It's more about how can I make the pie bigger and we all benefit more from it. So you got opportunities. You also have threats, and that's going to be more on the legal side. We've got some great attorneys that work with this program that can help you take a look at Marshall Berner, for example, Four Rivers Law Firm. He comes on. He talks about protecting your cybersecurity as well as from a legal protecting your intellectual properties. Those are the threats you want to take a look at.
And you make a very good point. Those who think about working with others will end up having others work for them.
Right.
Right. Because
absolutely,
you're going to create opportunities for all of you to benefit, and it's going to benefit them to join your team.
Yeah.
Right? Because you come from that mentality.
Yep.
Whereas the old mentality is, okay, every man for himself.
Yes.
If you're in my industry, you're my enemy.
Right.
It doesn't work like that anymore.
Right. There's so many different win-wins.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, Stephen Covey talked about, the 7 habits, and he has his win-win philosophy. There's so many different ways to win, and it's not always a win-lose, to your point, Naim. So that you think about the SWOT, you think about, working together. I think we really live in a collaborative environment, economy right now. They're so collaborative, just like you guys work with the bank turndowns. Hey, the bank said no. They're going to, you love working with the banks and they love working with you because you're able to help their client.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah. I mean, they look good for giving the referral.
You can't get any more competition in what we're doing to the banks.
Right.
Right. But they need us and we need them. When something qualifies and fits in their wheelhouse, we're happy to send it to them because why? It benefits our clients.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And just a reminder as well, with our show, we've got 2 great mortgage lenders can help you with residential financing, conventional loans, FHA, VA, our veterans. One thing our government did get right, and, we often complain about our government having a 10 or 12% approval rating with Congress. But, the one thing they did get right is VA loans, for example. So we've got great lenders, shout out to Interlink Mortgage as well as Integrity Financial Services. So 2 great lenders. And I want to thank you guys for coming in, educating our listeners out there. Nuggets of advice, ways to, not only look at getting a loan, but you guys are more or less business consultants and can help the small business owners out there. So we really appreciate you doing that. So, yeah, thanks for coming in. And I want to remind our listeners out there, go to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this show and you picked up something from it, think about all of the library that we have, hundreds of videos on YouTube. You can check out, if you're into sports, we had an interview with Coach Jim Levitt a few weeks back. I had all the local mayors on the show, and you learn more about the economy here locally. So we really appreciate our listeners. We appreciate our partners. And please go out there and consider making a random act of kindness. And we'll see you next time, same time and place. Bye-bye.